Mikey Brown, as Joanna likes to say. Mikey, how are you, sir?
Hey, long time no see.
Yes, sir.
Good to chat to you, man.
Yes, it's always great. I appreciate this very much. Joanna always calls you Mikey Brown. Only Joanna. You ever notice that?
I mean, there's other people in my life, but yeah,
Okay.
everyone somehow puts my last name connected when they're chatting with me. I think
they don't just call you
there's
Mike.
Too many Mike to go around.
Yeah.
I think it's there's too many of us, so they got to be specific.
You know, there's a longtime NBA coach named Mike Brown, and I actually
I know. Oh, yeah, of course.
Both of you are in my phone. Personally? Yes, I know him. He's a huge MMA fan, and he texted me one time out of the blue, and I have to distinguish and make sure I'm not texting the wrong guy.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Have you ever met him?
Yeah. No, I have not. I mean, I'm aware of him, but no, I've not met him.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of Mike Browns out there, right? There's like, unfortunately, the Mike Brown who was murdered in Ferguson, Missouri. This is another famous Mike Brown, right? But there's a pro hockey player. There's a bunch of us around, man. You got to watch out.
Well, we love you.
It's the Army.
We love you, and you're in Las Vegas. Big week. Can you describe, is there a part of you, Mike, that is almost hoping that this week just goes by smoothly and you could get over with it? Like, is there a part of you that is sort of dreading this week because of how personal this fight is between a guy you know very well from back in the day, Colby Covington, and your guy now, Jorge Masvidal?
I'm sure it'll be smooth. The UFC handles things really well. They organize things well. Like, they know when they're dealing with like a volatile situation, they know how to keep things separate and make sure everything runs smooth. They've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, but just, I mean, personally for you, like the feelings attached to this fight, is this one that you're kind of hoping goes relatively quickly so you can move on to the next one?
Of course, get the job done. We're here for a job. We want to perform and just get the job done.
When's the last time you cornered Colby Covington?
Dos Anjos.
Okay, and how many fights did you corner him for?
I think every one of his UFC fights except maybe one. Well, no. Well, after Dos Anjos, he was he worked with Conan for the Robbie fight, and then he left the team after that. So his whole UFC career. So,
wow.
I mean, we traveled a lot, man. I went to Singapore. I went to China. I went to Canada. I went to Brazil a couple times. I mean, I went to around the world with the guy.
Right. Does this feel weird for you because of that history?
I mean, it's a little weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how would you describe your relationship with him? Coach, fighter, how were you guys together?
Then or now?
No, then. Like, how was it working with him back in the day?
I mean, I thought we had a good relationship.
Yeah.
I felt, we traveled around the world and he was doing great. He lost one fight with us working together and he was injured in that fight. I thought it was a fight that really I learned from that he probably shouldn't have fought in the Warrior Alves fight. It was a fight he probably should have been pulled from, but it was like an injury that he had that now it's fight week and it's really close and he shouldn't have fought that night.
So you were there for the Brazil Filthy Animals post-fight interview? You were there with him?
I was.
What was that like?
A pretty wild one. That was scary, man. That was pretty wild, man. There was almost a riot.
Really?
It was pretty damn close. Yeah. I mean, security rushed us out of there. It was Joe Williams and UFC security pulling us out of there real quick and putting us in a van and getting us the hell out of there. They were pretty upset, to be honest.
Yeah. And wasn't there security at the hotel as well?
Yeah. I mean, like we were instructed not to leave our rooms.
Wow.
And like, if I remember right, I don't think we weren't on the same flight. I don't believe. I'm not certain why. Maybe he was going home back to Oregon or something, but I remember he was escorted to his terminal, I believe, escorted as far as he could go. They escorted him.
Wow. And, you know, as this, you know, new Colby was being developed, was there any part of you that was like, man, I don't really like this very much. This is making me uncomfortable?
It was never my style, right?
Right.
This is not something that I was ever into, even when I was a competitor. But he, and maybe that wasn't the best thing. Maybe, you know, I should have been a little more active about promoting fights and things like this. But you got to know how to do it and when to do it and where's the line and this and that. And I think it's fine when you're targeting, you know, potential fights. And I think sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't.
Did you ever have conversations with him quietly about like the psychology behind this, why he's going this route, all that stuff?
Of course.
Yeah. And what I would always hear was like he was a different guy behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's hyping the fight up. I mean, that's like anybody, but that's any fighter, right? Like when you're hyping a fight up, you're not always like, you know, when you're hyping a fight, you're aggressive and this and that, but you're not always that way.
Right. The crux of the issue here between Jorge, as Jorge has said in many interviews, was the Paulino Hernandez situation where, you know, Colby didn't want to pay him, all this stuff. Did you ever have issues like that with Colby?
I did not. I mean, I was always paid by the gym.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So you get paid by the gym, not the fighter.
Right.
Oh, for all
gym, for American top team works like that. Like the fighters pay the gym pays the coaches.
Interesting. Is that the case in all the gyms, or is that a unique thing for ATT?
I'm not certain. I don't know.
Okay.
The situation for every gym.
Right. All right. So now you have this situation that's been brewing for a while. How would you describe Jorge's, you know, mental state going into this fight? You know, there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of intensity. It's a true grudge match. It's very rare that the UFC puts a non-title fight as the headliner for a pay-per-view, but this one's big enough. How has he been in the build-up to the fight?
George is George, man. He's as cool as they come. And this is nothing new for him. Been in a lot of big fights. And seems like the norm for him. The Nate Diaz fight wasn't
BMF
true title fight, right?
Yeah.
They made a title for it,
right?
A special title for it, but that's how big his fights are,
right?
He's definitely a special athlete, special fighter, and something everybody wants to see. Nobody wants to miss this. He's definitely the draw.
Have you felt like there's a little extra pep in his step because this one's so personal to him?
I mean, I think so. He's focused. He's a student, man. He always has been. And I feel like he's been training for this fight for years now. Because we went from like Askren to Usman to, you know, it's like he's been preparing for this style, this type of matchup for several years. And this is a guy who knows really how to focus on one issue or problems in his game or just, I always say it all the time. Nobody has more weapons than George. This guy is a guy who really hones in on technique and develops different techniques from all different combat sports, and some that are innovative and creative that he's made up, or Paulino, his striking coach, has come up with a lot of stuff as well. There's a lot of innovation that's going through him as well, but this guy knows how to hone in and develop technique better than anybody I've met.
It's maybe a silly question for a veteran like him, but have you guys talked about not being emotional out there, not fighting with emotion? Because as you know, you fight with emotion. Sometimes you stray from the game plan. You fight outside yourself. Is there any discussions about that? Any concern on your end about this being so personal that he will fight emotionally on Saturday?
I don't think there's a guy that I know that handles pressure better than him. He's the guy that with so much drama, with all that's, he's the guy that can stay relaxed and cool under the most intense pressure of any athlete I've met, and I've met a lot of them.
Yeah. So when you have a situation like this where they know each other very well, How interesting is the game planning for it? Like, Colby. I mean, you have devised game plans for Colby Covington. What is it like now preparing a game plan to beat the guy that you helped build?
Yeah, I mean, we know him, but they both have changed so much in the last 3 or 4 years. So it's a bit different. And we know some general strengths, but, his game is changing all the time. He's looked much different his last couple of fights than he did 4 or 5 years ago.
For the untrained eye, how has he changed? Because I think most people who aren't you, who don't have the knowledge you have, would say maybe he's better, but he's relatively the same type of fighter with the same type of, toolbox. How has he changed?
He's definitely more relaxed and has the ability to feel comfortable striking.
Yeah.
Which wasn't always the case where he relied solely on his wrestling and his pressure to win fights. But over the past couple of years, he's now developed his ability to stay relaxed in the open space, open mat, open cage, and let his hands and kicks go.
What would you say to the people who say, all right, we just saw Jorge fight Usman twice, similar type of fighter. Colby has the cardio, he's got the pace, he's got the pressure, he's got the wrestling. It's not a good matchup for Jorge.
Well, one of them was very short notice. Right? One of them was a less than a week notice going to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, big weight cut.
Yeah. Another one was, you could also go back one more fight, and it was a very similar fight, and it was the most devastating KO maybe we've ever seen, or one of them, right, with Askren. So that wasn't too far off also. And I mean, Usman's tough, man. Usman's very good. He did a hell of a job in that last one. It was something where I think maybe we overlooked the striking a little bit because the first fight, we were so focused on, we just cannot get taken down. Like the way we lose this fight is get taken down, and maybe didn't put enough time into the striking. And Usman is always developing and getting better. He's a great champ. And George had never been knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like something like we almost, of course, it could happen, but you didn't think it was going to. So something that we probably overlooked and should have been a little more safe and a little more careful, and we weren't.
The first time a fighter gets knocked out, sometimes they change the next time out, right? We've seen this historically. How do you feel like he has responded to being knocked out for the first time? And do you have any concerns about how it will affect him on Saturday?
I mean, this guy his best asset is his mind, I think. His mental toughness, his ability to his fight IQ, his ability to focus. But I think he deals with pressure better than anybody, and he's got probably the highest fight IQ of anybody I know.
Really? I mean, you coach some of the best fighters on the planet.
Yeah. That's what his thing is, right? That's what makes him so special, is that he can do so many different things. He can do so many different things so well. And whether it's submission grappling, whether it's wrestling, whether it's Muay Thai, whether it's boxing, whether it's something innovative that's very unique to MMA that he or somebody around him has created, and it's brand new that nobody's ever seen. We see this a lot with him. He's always developing new ideas and new techniques. This is why I think he's so special.
How do you think the first 5 minutes go for Colby? Like, what do you expect to see from him in the first 5 minutes?
I mean, I expect him to come out hard.
Push the pace?
I'm assuming.
Yeah. Do you think he tries to wrestle?
I'm assuming.
Yeah?
I mean, you never know, but yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Clinch, all that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe not. I mean, he didn't in the Usman fights, but it's a completely different fight.
Sure.
But that's his, 95% of his fights have been like that.
Mm-hmm.
the only fights that haven't have maybe been Usman and my brain's not working. In Brazil, great BJJ guy. So, Jamie Maia, my brain wasn't working. Maia, with the exception of Maia and Usman.
And
his fights have always been that way. Pressure. Drive, like come out wild, drive him to the cage, just try to wear him out with your conditioning, and then maybe strike a little bit later. But that's kind of his style.
Last time you spoke to him, do you remember?
Probably, yeah. I think so, maybe.
What do you mean?
I'm not sure if it was.
Do you
I don't know when the last time.
Oh, no, like, do you remember, like, the last conversation you had with him? Was it good terms, bad terms? Like, how would you...
No, it was never bad terms.
Okay.
I mean, I think our last conversation was, I think things were we were going in separate directions. And I think our last conversation was, he said something to me like, hey, I think you're going to be really busy this next month or two. I'm going to have Conan run my camp. And kind of separating from me, which I think was coming. He made it easy.
All right, because of your relationship with Jorge and whatnot.
Yeah, that many things. I think there was some distance being with everything that was going on. I think we were both starting to separate a little bit, and then I think he made it kind of easy.
When he eventually left the gym, was the vibe better at the gym? Did you feel like there was less tension?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, because I can't imagine when both of them were there at the same time.
It was a really bad environment.
Yeah. And at one point, Jorge left too, right? He was, Dan Lambert said he had to take a break from the gym, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was strange.
By the way,
it was really weird.
What about Dan on AEW? Do you watch him? Those promos are fun.
He's so good at it, man.
He's crazy.
He's got a gift, man. That's his gift.
He's amazing. I mean, he's got a lot of gifts.
He's another guy who's very calm under pressure, man. He's like really good in front of a crowd. I mean, he can always find the right words. He's built for
it. When I posted the picture on my Instagram, who would be on today, I got a comment from comment/question from someone named Kayla Harrison. I think you're familiar with her. She said, make sure to ask Mike Brown who the Uno and Rummy champ is. She smoke you in Uno?
I mean,
it's great.
No. I mean, she's uber competitive at everything she does, from whether it's tying your shoes, who's going to be faster, to kids games or card games or whatever it might be. Nobody's more competitive than Kayla. And that's what makes her probably such a great athlete.
Without picking sides, would you like to see her try to go to a new place to maybe get that big Cyborg fight? Are you intrigued by this?
I think it's time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy wherever she goes. I think they'll bring talent to her at PFL. I'm happy. I know she wants big challenges. She wants big fights. She's ready to challenge herself. She really wants that. I thought we've been in a great spot. I think, she was learning MMA in a major promotion, right? Having 0 fights, you're already fighting in a major promotion like PFL. It's good money. You're getting decent competition. That's not always the norm for most pro fighters, right? Maybe they fight some amateur fights, then they go on to a little bit tougher competition. From her first fight that she ever had, she's in the PFL. Obviously, she's a special athlete, but that's not easy to do. And it's been good. She's been learning and developing and honing her skills and trying new things and experimenting and seeing what works and what doesn't in combat. And now she's, over 10 fights experience and 3 or 4 years in, whatever it might be. And I think she's ready to make big challenges now. I mean, she wants to fight everybody. Honestly, we've been holding her back, she's been saying it for maybe 1.5 years or so. I want them all. I want to fight the best. I don't want to do this. I want I want to show that I'm the best. You know, it's like, take your time, take your time. But it's not what she necessarily wants. It's usually, I think, coaches and management that's been pulling on the reins, but she wants to go. And I think we're coming to that point now where it's going to happen.
Would she be ready for like a Cyborg in your opinion, or would you want to build a little more to that?
No, I think she's there. Yeah, she's ready.
Yeah. Amanda Nunes beat Cyborg. She's now gone from the team. Are you surprised she left?
Yeah. I was a bit bummed about that.
And you're not going to work with her, right?
No. She's no longer with American Top Team. I'm American Top Team employee.
Yes.
And that's my home, my team, my family. You know, that's where I'll be.
Joanna is back.
Yep.
Is she going to fight Zhang Weili?
Trying. She's been trying to make a big fight. She just wants she wants to fight. She's been itching to fight for the last year and a half, but it's like she wants something big that makes sense.
Right.
She doesn't want to fight where she is now. She's done so many great things, so many big things. Just fighting any old fight doesn't make sense to her. It has to be something that's of importance or a title fight or something significant. Right. She's been in as big as fights as they come on the biggest cards that's ever been. She's been there. So she's not looking to fight on an undercard or be opening fight of a pay-per-view type thing. She always wants to be at the top.
Do you like that fight? Would you be down with that fight, that rematch?
Of course. Yeah. It was a coin toss, right? Yeah. An amazing fight, unbelievable fight. Obviously, she can beat anybody in the world. She's that caliber. Wei Li's very, very great. Rose is great. There are many great athletes out there, but obviously, Joanna is in that mix and can beat them all.
Would you be okay with Dustin fighting at 170?
Absolutely.
You like that fight, the Diaz fight?
Love it. Huge, right? Everybody loves these guys, but both are fan favorites. Both of them, neither of them have like an ounce of boring fight in them. They're nonstop action from bell to bell. This would be a big pay-per-view. This is, and I think they're both bigger guys, so it would be better at 170.
Right.
They're both, why deplete yourself and they can both probably make 55, but why not just fight at 70 and enjoy life and train hard? And then you also have, that's 15 more pounds of power behind those shots. So like the heavier punches, and Dustin can crack, man. He can crack with both hands and kicks very hard too.
I was thinking of you at the end of the year. You've had some incredible highs. The game is highs and lows. But you had that stretch of Kyoji and Dustin back to back. What was that like for you? Because I know you love both guys. You're super close with both guys. And those were really big fights for both of them, heartbreaking finishes. How was that for you? Like after those 2 weeks? It was really like 8 days.
It was a week. No, it was like 8 days. It was probably the toughest week. It was the toughest week I ever had as a coach.
Really?
Yeah. And had a great couple of years.
Yeah.
With winning, I don't know what percentage, but very high percentage of the fights, big fights, all big fights. But that week was really difficult because just the significance of the fights.
Yeah.
World title fights. Both guys are so good. And then you throw in Amanda in that mix as well. Amanda was
right. That's right.
On the same day as Dustin. So it was
Louise.
I couldn't believe it. It was surreal. But it's a fight game and it happens, and it just happened to be, it was all at once. But if you rewind a little bit, the streak that they've all been on, what they've accomplished, that thing can happen when you're fighting the absolute best in the world. It's not easy, and things like this can happen.
When you have moments like that, weeks like that, is there a part of you that feels like you need a break from this? Do you take it really hard to where you need to take a step back?
A little bit. Sometimes you need to not long, but maybe a couple of days to decompress and reset and think about things. And, what can we do differently? And why? you know, why did this happen? Why did that happen? And I think under each circumstance was much different from the other.
Sure. Yeah. It's a wild thing because if you compare you guys to like an NFL coach, like those are like back-to-back Super Bowls, right? You don't go from one Super Bowl and then like the following week have to play in the Super Bowl again after a tough defeat, right? But you guys have to, I mean, when you have so many fighters, you have all these big fights, sometimes back-to-back-to-back. I can't imagine the stress.
The tough part is there's no off season.
Yeah. There's no break.
It doesn't ever stop.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, whether it's through Christmas, whatever, it's like there's always a big fight coming up.
Yeah.
Somebody's always fighting. And for this athlete, for me, it's the biggest fight of their life. Right? It's not like, oh, it's not. No, the next one is always the biggest fight of your life.
Right.
And it never stops, you know? So it's always a cycle, man. It just keeps going.
I'll let you leave after this. How do you see it going down on Saturday?
I see George's hard work paying off, man. All the work he's put in with wrestling, offense and defense, and some of the new innovative stuff he's been working on that people will see, some surprises that people will see.
Oh.
I see George getting his hand raised.
I love it. You think distance? What do you think?
It's possible, but I don't think so. I think that because both guys will probably come out so aggressive, I think they're probably going to get it done early.
Wow.
And things will they're going to go at it fast. I think I expect Colby to come out really hard. So nobody will have really a choice, but they'll be going at it really quickly. So I don't anticipate it going the distance.
I was excited before. You have just made me a hell of a lot more excited. I think the entire MMA community is excited for this. Good luck to you guys. Always great to pick your brain, Mike. I appreciate it very much, and can't wait for Saturday. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
God bless. There he is, Coach Mike Brown of American Top Team. Massive weekend for them. It's always a big weekend for American Top Team, but this one is a very personal one, obviously, with the history. And last I checked, let's get a quick look here. Last I checked, Jorge Masvidal is an underdog going into this fight. Yes. There he is. Yes, he's a plus 250 on DraftKings. Minus 320 is Colby Covington.